One of my favorite stories of all time, and one I bring up constantly, and mostly with my dad, actually, is the story that you probably know of the three boats. So there's the story where this man is standing in some rushing water, and the water is coming up to his ankles, and this boat comes by and says, "Jump in the boat, we'll save you." And the guy says, "Don't worry, God will save me." And so the boat leaves, and so the water's now sort of up to his waist, up to his chest, and so a second boat comes by and says, "Jump in the boat, we'll save you." And the man says again, "Don't worry, God's going to save me." And so now the water is sort of up to his mouth and his nose. He's barely breathing. And the third boat comes by and says, "Jump in the boat. We'll save you." And the man says, "No, it's okay. God's going to save me." And so he drowns. And so while it's just, I didn't write the story. He's speaking to God at this point, and he says to God, "I thought you were going to save me." And God says, "I sent you three boats." Right, so yes. It is one of my favorite stories of all time. It never gets old. It's not known very well but by anyone. So I feel like it's original. Is there a punchline yet? Yeah, that was it. I got you weren't listening? You missed the boat. Shabbat shalom, I'm done. That's it. I'm waiting for the touche. I'm waiting. There it is. There we go. Okay. I have nothing else to say, actually. That's just, I'm in this high right now I'm having. And then so it's one of my favorite stories of all time. I talk about with my dad all the time about choices that I make in life and choices I made in my whole life, and he always compares the choices to the boats. Like, did we miss the boat? Did we get on the boat? He sort of reflects on his life and says, he came from Europe, and that was a boat, and literally, and then there were other connections. And so I remember having the conversation with him when I planned to perhaps get engaged to my wife, to Lecha, and I was talking to him, I wasn't sure, and he was like, "This is one of those times, this is one of those boats, so don't miss it." So I remember him saying that to me, because it's true, and look, so I'm not sure if she would say the same thing, but I feel like it. So we'll ask her some other time. Noticing the boat is a really important concept, right? That's the whole, it's a joke. But if you don't notice the boat and get on it, then there's no one can help you in any possible way. You have to notice it and then get onto it for it to function in a way that it needs to function. And so, like I said, I used the story 1,000 times, and I thought that it connected well, like many things do, to this week's Torah portion, which is Lecha. It is the third portion in the entirety of the Torah. We had the creation, we had Noach, last week, and now we have Lecha. Lecha is the first meeting we get to have with a man named Avram and his wife Sarai. They later become Avraham and Sarah. At the beginning of the book, they're Avram and Sarai, but we meet them. And so, you've heard of them? Abraham and Sarah? Okay, good, okay. So, just making sure. Whew, thanks. I wasn't going to do a show of hands, but I just wanted to see some nodding and smiling, so I feel good about it. All right, so we meet Abraham and Sarah. It's very exciting, and there's this really good opening. It's sort of like, I've brought this up to you before, actually, from this bima. The opening is sort of like that the music from the movie Jaws. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Yeah, thank you. Good. Okay, thank you for the 4 people nodding. So good. So it's sort of this very suspenseful opening, because God pretty much says to Avram, "Go forth from your land, from your birthplace, from your father's house, to the land that I will show you." In Hebrew, the way that the syllables work, they each build. Lech lecha, me'artzecha, mi beit avicha. Like everything grows very nicely, and so the parts of the Hebrew actually match up, and that's why it seems like there's this suspense building. So it's a really exciting Torah portion. Again, go forth from your land and your birthplace, from your father's house to the land that I will show you. That's how the Torah portion starts. This is the dialogue that God has with Abram, and Abraham pretty much says, "All right, Fine, I will do it. And thus is born the sort of beginnings of our religion. The Jewish people is really born then because of Abraham and Sarai who say yes, and we move on and become this awesome people. But the rabbis, they struggle with the opening words essentially. Not the opening word, but the words Lech Lecha. Because Lech Lecha grammatically doesn't make that much sense. Let's play some Hebrew grammar. Everyone's excited about that, right? Yeah, I love Hebrew grammar. It's the only class I got not an A in rabbinic school. I will not tell you what it was, but it was not an A. But everyone loves a little biblical grammar. So, what does Lech mean? Go. Thank you very much. Everyone try Lech with me. It's good. It's good for the throat. It's good. It's good. Especially if you had some dairy earlier. It's very good. So, Lech, and then Lecha. Lecha, what's that? I had some, what? To you, yes. Go to you. Sounds like bad translation, like you're in a cab in Israel. Go to you, I get it for you now. Go for you, I get it. You stay here, I go with you. What? It sounds like the structure's bad, but it's there for a reason. So, Lech Lecha, go onto you. So there are a lot of explanations. So some people just say it just means go. Some people say it means go forth. There is a commentator named Ramban, not Rambam, which is Maimonides, but Ramban, who disagrees and says it really just means go. It's sort of just a fancy way of saying it. And then everyone attacks him grammatically and says no. And then, so here's what Rashi says. Rashi, by the way, is the greatest commentator of all time. And he says this Lech Lecha actually means go to you for your benefit. That's what Rashi, the greatest commentator of all time, that's his commentary. He says, go to you, Lech Lecha, go to you for your own benefit. So for yourself, go for yourself, essentially. Does that make sense? Good. It's not supposed to. Excellent. So then there's this other very little-known commentator who sort of 18th century from Poland, and he translated as sort of go according to your will or according to your nature is what he says. That's how you should go, according to your nature. And so if you break down this concept of going and what Avraham soon will do, sort of get up from his house, take this order, and follow the directions of God, we have to wonder why? Why would he do this? And so the commentary also says, what was in it for him? Because the commentary says, go for your benefit. But you know what? He doesn't have so much going for him, actually. He leaves his father's house. He's very confused by the religion, the polytheistic religion that's there. His wife is barren. He has to leave his homeland. Things aren't going that well for him, actually. And so the commentary comments on that to say it's because of his nature. It's because he felt something. It's because there was something in him that felt like, back to our story, this was a boat. It felt like maybe for him, the commentary says, maybe things aren't they're supposed to be right now because we're supposed to make this move. We're supposed to move forward. We're supposed to take this leap. We're supposed to go for ourselves and find benefit for ourselves. Maybe that's what the commentary is saying. And so he knew to take this leap. He knew to take this leap of faith for this sort of, for lack of a better term, this leap of faith. And so the question that I have for you is, would you do it? If you heard a voice, let's say tonight when you're sleeping, and the voice said to you, hey, hi, how are you? That's when I would get nervous. But okay, after that, if this voice says to you, leave everything you know. Leave everything alone. You leave what you know from your parents, leave your homeland, leave everything and just go and trust me. This voice says, just trust me and it'll be fine. You know what? In fact, if you trust me, I promise you several things good will happen to you, including an entire nation will be born from you. Would you do it? Would you do it? It's not rhetorical. Anyone do it? Anyone would do it? Who wouldn't do it? Seems a little crazy. It's interesting because only 7 hands went up in total. It's interesting since there are more than 7 of you in here. Hold on a second. Yeah, more than 7. So yes, but so I just want you to think about it on the magnitude of what he does, and because he does it, where we get to be. We get to sit here because he does it. We get to sit here because he takes that leap, and you know what? He decided he could do it. And maybe it was because he just needed to go, maybe because the situation he was in wasn't that great. Maybe he was going for his own benefit because he could change the situation that he was in. And so, as we enter Shabbat, the Shabbat of Lecha, the beginning, still really beginning of our Torah, I invite all of you to think about it, to think about, would you do it? Would you really do it if you heard this voice tonight? On Erev Shabbat, leading into Shabbat, would you do it? That's number one. And then I invite you to think about not always reflect, I invite you to think about, if you did it, what's in it for you? Because it's a pretty good gift. What's in it for you if you took that leap of faith? Maybe not the one where you leave the house, but taking a leap of faith in general, what's in it for us? Maybe sometimes it's really, really fabulous. And the last thing I'd like to invite all of us to do on this Shabbat is, if the boat shows up, will you recognize it, and will you be able to get on it? Shabbat Shalom.